This first news story comes to us from Eurogamer. Persona 6 will be coming to multiple platforms, leaks suggest. It's written by Vicky Blake over at Eurogamer.
We did it, boys.
Persona 6 will be coming to multiple platforms, including Xbox and Switch/Switch 2. That's according to industry insiders Nate the Hate and Midori, who have each now asserted that the next installment of Atlus's fan-favorite RPG series will be coming to more platforms. From information I've heard, it does seem that Persona 6 will be coming to the Xbox, Nate the Hate said. So fans Persona have something to look forward to. Not 100% sure if it's like a day and date with the PlayStation version, but considering the way the Persona games have been day and date with the multi-platform releases at this point, it may be a safe assumption to make that Persona 6 will be day and date on Xbox and PlayStation. It would be a really big deal if Microsoft was able to secure that on Game Pass, which recently they've been going crazy on Game Pass, getting all of them. You know, they've been getting like 3, 4.
I mean, that was the big indicator, right? That this was going to happen. Was the Xbox was the first out of the gate to have Persona on their platform versus it always being on PlayStation. So it makes sense that was part of the deal. That you're gonna make sure that 6 comes on there too.
Yeah. Noted leaker Midori then jumped onto the Twitter thread to confirm Nate's information was correct, adding, and it's coming to multiple platforms too. What's not clear is when the highly anticipated sequel will release. We suspect it will start development in or around 2021, which is when we spotted Atlus recruiting for the project, or whether it will feature a female protagonist. Apparently that's another kind of rumor going around. At the Xbox partner preview earlier this month, Atlus announced an expansion pass for the remake, including the much requested epilogue, The Answer. Persona 3 Reload, released earlier this year, was criticized for not including all the extras from the various past versions of the game to provide a complete experience. Now in a new interview, series general producer Kazuhisa Wada has shared how that feedback inspired development of the expansion. Next up from Atlus will be Metaphor Refantasio later this year, which moves Persona's social gameplay into a high fantasy setting. Adrian, as our resident Persona expert, how does this make you feel? Because up till now, context, I guess, mainline games have pretty much been exclusive to PlayStation consoles up until 5 Royal, right? And then it started. Right. Then it came to Xbox and stuff, and now over the basically the years after that, they've been bringing past like we just mentioned 3 and 4 and all that to Xbox now. But is this a good thing, bad thing? Are you excited about it? Is there any fears or worries you're having about this possibly happening? What are your thoughts?
No, this is fantastic, brother. The more people that are playing Persona, the better. 100%.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything that would be a negative to this.
I mean, with having so many more, not to say they're not capable, because obviously with all these ports and stuff, the ports have been coming out and they've been great. But
yeah, exactly. That's why I'm not worried about that part. That's why I was trying to.
But they didn't all come out day and date at the same time. Like they came out with the PlayStation 1 and then they were able to trick off the other ones. Do you think if they were to do a day and date multi-platform release for everything, is there a chance where the Switch version runs like trash, or there's weird bugs, or do you think are they a big enough studio to handle this extra work?
Well, I mean, they also have Sega backing them too. So if they need those extra resources, they can always reach out to Sega, and Sega has connections everywhere. So I based on what we have with the ports that we already got of 3, 4, and 5, I have no doubt that that 6 is going to be able to run fine on whatever hardware it comes out on. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I only see it being a boon that there's more and more people, because now you're going to expand your fan base. You're going to sell more copies of 6, and then they're going to be like, okay, well, 6 did numbers, let's get to 7. And it's just going to keep going and going and going like that. So I got no problem with it. Now you're going to have your console warriors be like, well, it's a PlayStation fan, it's a PlayStation series and it should stay on PlayStation. Here's the problem with that. if you go back and you look at Persona games, especially 5 was the big breaking point when people were starting to see that clearly the wheels were turning for Atlas to start to break away from just being PlayStation. Because on the box for PS4, which is the original platform it came out for, it said, normally when you have an exclusive for PS4, it'll say only on PlayStation in the corner.
Right.
Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal, neither of them said that. So that was kind of
interesting,
foreshadowing of what exactly was going to be here in the future. And people were swearing up and down. I remember arguing with people on Twitter about this, being like, bro, it's not a PlayStation exclusive per se. There is no and has never been an agreement that Persona games are exclusive to PlayStation. It's more of like a mutual beneficiary, like PlayStation and Atlas are homies. We've got a good thing going. Let's keep it going. But there's never been like an wet ink bound contract to say that you are only going to put your games here. So you had to be crazy to think so. And now we're seeing the fruits of that. It's like, Sony's been good for us. They've been good to us, but there's so many more people out there that we could reach with PC, with Switch, with Xbox. And now they're seeing that, right? Like, remember, I don't know if you remember, but when Persona 4 came out on PC for the first time, it did gangbusters. It did way, way, way more than they initially thought it was going to do.
Yeah.
And I really think that's what helped Atlas wake up to be like, we should probably look into bringing our games to other platforms if they're doing this kind of numbers just on PC. And that's why we are where we are now. So I fully expect Persona 6 to be day and date on every console. They're all gonna have their own, limitations of what they can do and what they can't do. I'm looking at Switch 2 likely, but at least it'll be there. So
I mean, it's not like Persona games are necessarily like technically hardware intensive. So like I feel like and the Switch 2 is supposed to be more powerful than the Switch, obviously. And Persona 5 is on Switch, isn't it? Or no, did it not come? Okay.
No, it is.
Yeah. So it's like, all right, if Switch can handle Persona 5 Royal, I could totally see anything that they do with Persona 6 coming. Like, because they're not like very intense games. They're very they got some big worlds and stuff, but even then, like I played a bit of Persona 5 and it's big worlds, but in these like small alleyways, if that makes sense. It's like a lot of like slices that's broken up into. So obviously if they ever change it, want to go bigger and like imagine doing like a big open world like Persona 5 or something, then or Persona 6. They could do like that's when we're going to run into technical issues. But yeah, I just know like I just feel like so often nowadays games that shouldn't or that you would assume wouldn't have technical issues are, and it's just like it's flabbergasting, just to like see that happen. Like, I mean, just talk about last week, the Star Wars Battlefront collection. Like there was no reason for that to be broken like it was. I mean, it's a
none
20-year-old game that could have easily just been like slapped an emulator on a disc and then just set up some servers that it referenced. I say that like I know what I'm talking about. I don't, but I mean, I could still play the originals that way if I wanted to. So why wouldn't I don't know. It just blows my mind that a huge company like Aspyr, a huge studio, it wasn't able to make a 20-year-old game work properly. It just blows my mind. Like things have gotten easier, if anything, especially if you're just using like, I don't know, you're just working with this old game. Or they should have just totally remade it. Like, why they trying to reinvent or not remake it, but like do a full-on remaster where they actually like remastered the assets. They didn't. They just used all the original assets. That was another big gripe. Is like they didn't really actually up-res anything. Like everything's kind of the same.
Well, they AI upscaled it, I'm sure, or AI or whatever. But
so it's like you would hope that with this game coming out on multi-platform, like they'd have that in the bag. But You also never know. That would suck. It also
I
come
mean,
out
based
on
off their track
Xbox
record,
and just tanking, but
yeah, but based off their track record with 3, 4, and 5 and how smoothly those went, I don't foresee any issues.
yeah. Now, I
with
mean, they
6.
like this article said, they put out other games besides Persona. Like later this year, they have Metaphor Refantasio coming out, and
Yep.
isn't there Shin Megami
Shin Megami Tensei 5, it's getting like it's golden or it's royal, like the
Okay.
deluxe version re-released.
Okay, and the launch of those games generally go good. Like I'm just trying to get a feel for like Atlas as a
I
studio.
mean, the
Like,
launch
all
of that
right,
game was good. It was just crippled because the Switch hardware was so limited, so the
Okay.
frame rate wasn't the best. But
okay.
the complete game was there, and now you can see, now that it's on like PS5 and Series X, like it's running at a solid, rock solid 60 and everything. So
Those are more action oriented games, though, right? Not like the turn based.
I mean, no, those are turn based too, but
okay.
it's the scope of them is a lot bigger than a Persona game. So
okay, that was a little different.
mhm.
Yeah, well, time will tell. That's exciting. Yeah, I mean, I'm only like a newer. I'm newer into the Persona verse, and only really ever playing just a handful, couple dozen hours of Persona 5, which is just scratching the surface in reality. But I love what I played, and yeah, but it's just exciting to know, like, okay, more people will be able to play these games. I know how much you love them, so we'll see. Yeah, maybe you'll be able to just play it on your Switch on the go. That's one thing I love about
That's
Persona
the dream.
5. Persona 5 is Royal, as I picked it up on Steam Deck, and play that mobily. It was kind of awesome, honestly.
Yes, dude.
Thank you so much for watching that clip from our podcast. Remember, if you want to watch the full episode, link will be in the description below. You can click on that and check it out. We got listener questions. We got more news segments. We got what you playing. We got a lot of fun things. So yeah, more than just the news. There's a lot more to the show that you should go check out. So remember, click that link in the description. Check out that full episode.